are they likely to disrupt the business models of these companies enough that we do see greater protection in whatever guise you might want to see it happen, whether it's internally if you're working at the company or externally using their products?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is that we are absolutely at an inflection point, which is what you just described. Whether it's research that has been done by whistleblowers, researchers themselves, whether it's the lawsuits from AGs, from parents, school districts, we are just seeing overwhelming kind of support for these platforms to take on much more responsibility, for them to be accountable to their actions, and for them to change the way that they design their products. Right now, these products are designed to capitalize on children's vulnerabilities, the things that make their development different than older users. And we know this from these disclosures. And so that's exactly what people are looking for when they're going through with these lawsuits and with these testimonies.
When we think of the testimonies, when we think of Judge Yvonne Rogers, who's allowed them to proceed in some way, many would say actually the decisions that they've made means that much business model disruption won't happen. The fact that the endless scrolling isn't going to be something that's focused on, but it will be more about protection and ultimately oversight from parents. Is that going to be enough? And how do you think, if you think about the other side of what Meta and other companies would say is, you know, what we're building isn't wrong, it's the way in which humanity uses it that is wrong. How can we get a better balance between the two?
So I think the most important thing is to look at the incentives, right? These companies right now are incentivized to design their products with profits first. But we have tons of legislative solutions out there. We have COSA at the federal level that has over 50 bipartisan co-sponsors. We have the Age-Appropriate Design Code that's been in place in the UK, it was introduced in California. You mentioned Judge Yvonne Rogers. These solutions look at actually changing the way these platforms are designed. They look at how can we change these platforms so that kids' best interests are put forth first. They focus on privacy. They focus on changing features that are addictive, and they also provide a duty of care, basically requiring platforms to prioritize the best interests of kids over profits. And I think that's the best way forward here.
Camille, your position, and it's shared by others, is that social media platforms are deliberately designed as pieces of technology to be addictive to children and teenagers. Have I got that right?
Yes.
TikTok, as an example, set out a policy in March. That policy was that you have to be age 13 or a different age at least, depending on local law restrictions, to use the platform. Aside from legislation and the policies of companies like TikTok, what fixes would you recommend to safeguard teens and children? What technological solutions are there?
Yeah, this is a great question. And TikTok has this policy as well as Facebook and many other platforms. But what we're learning from many of these disclosures related to the Attorney's General investigation is, for instance, Meta actually knows that they have millions of underage users. They have millions of users under the age of 13, which is in violation of federal law, that they are collecting data on. Not only do they know this, they are taking great lengths to make sure that the public doesn't know that they know this, and they're studying these users. They're capitalizing on these users. So these platforms already have a way of knowing who is and isn't on their platform, but they're choosing not to do anything about it, and they're choosing not to make sure that underage users are not accessing products that are not built for them.
On January the 31st, I believe, a number of CEOs will go to Capitol Hill for a Senate hearing. When executives go before lawmakers, what is it that you hope comes out of public hearings like that? How does it move the agenda forward?
I think that this is a really big opportunity for policymakers to push these executives on the fact that they know they have users that are on their platform that are not supposed to be. The fact that we now have evidence that they are intentionally designing products in ways that are harmful to users. For instance, Arturo Bejar, who was the most recent Meta whistleblower, shared that 1 in 8 young users under the age of 16 experienced unwanted sexual advances. And despite Meta knowing this, instead of designing a reporting mechanism for users to be able to report this to Facebook, to Instagram, for Instagram to be able to fix what was going on, they intentionally designed a reporting flow that was really hard for users. It took a lot of effort, it was really long, and they took out all human oversight. So young users are essentially not incentivized to report this anymore because the company doesn't do anything, and the company is no longer being flagged about these issues that are happening. So I hope that these sessions, we can actually get to the bottom of the fact that these companies know that some of the product designs are harmful and that we need to end this practice.